Hi, my dear class. I don't know what time you will be watching this video, but you can replay it, no? Especially in your own time, and you can stop it or you can review the tape, no? Or maybe take some notes. What I'll do is try to go through the routine that we usually do in the class. So the first part is usually quiet. So what I'll suggest before you begin opening this tape and play it on, is do some quiet for about 10 minutes. Okay, you don't have to rush, so that at least, like what we said, this idea of mindfulness or this idea of quieting or listening is really a way to the silence is really listening and to have some clarity, especially in the mind, and to have inner peace so that we can focus more. No, okay. So what we'll do is just review what we have done so far. So usually we do a little summary of what we have taken so far. What I walk you through in the past classes we have, if you were following, is we said the first two we did a little on something urgent, no, especially with regard to disaster management and this adversity, and like we had volcanic eruption, and we have this many typhoons that at least enter this country, and of course even in other countries we have these difficulties that we go through. So we have experience of losses and damages, and also we have encountered certain losses, and also people affected, especially those who were left behind. So we suggested a few steps that we can follow in terms of this disaster management or resiliency, and also loss and grief. And the second one we took was about, we said we'll follow another urgent matter, especially in the Philippines. We call it drug abuse and recovery. So we invited some guests, and we had people who shared about their life, you know, how they destroyed their lives and they became powerless, did a lot of damage to their family and relatives, and with their own selves, also with their jobs, and this powerlessness that they went through, and accepted this. No, it's part of the experience that. But what we wanted to stress was they don't have to be killed because it's a sickness. Because in the present narrative of people, we realize that the people are just killed, no, and without given an option to have this we call sickness. No, it's a sickness, and they need to be, in a sense, some quarantine and or community-based drug rehab, so that they begin to uh, have an accounting of their own life. And we found out that it's important to have these steps, no, that they go through. First, an acknowledgement of their own powerlessness, and especially with this we call dopamine. No, dopamine is really what they take in, that gives them a high, in their brain, and that is recorded, or that's the default they have. So we have this. We said that they became unmanageable, and as they begin to be detoxified, they have a clarity in their own thinking. They begin to have this what we call uh, this uh, an accounting of their life, no, an examination of their life, and they begin to make an accounting of the people they have hurt, and how they need to make amends, and how they need to be in touch with their spiritual power. More and more, I heard that clarity of the internal conscience, they call, no, to begin to see, no, there is a conscience within, and that has to be awakened in some way. And later on, they begin to make amends to the people, and they begin to do service work. they have this continuing spiritual accounting and spiritual contact with this higher power they call. And of course, what we said will follow the life stages, especially in the family life. No, uh, first we took something on the kids, no, children, how the trust is shaken because of this. Some abuses they've been through, and some of them they just go out to the streets, and but we're saying that they also recover and they become resilient. And we said that these young people they need some stability. We call it constancy, predictability, you know, and some routine in their life, and they need to have figures, constant figures who can guide them. No, because the difficulty, especially with the young people, if they lose the parents who are so supposed to be stable, then they begin to be lost in a way and shaken. They lose their anchor. And what we also mentioned was about some activities they need to have, some routine, and competence, no, to grow in competence. And so we took some also. We walked through this teenage life, no, adolescents, how they shake the system because they're also growing in terms of identity, and also their amygdala is growing, emotional center. Also their prefrontal cortex are growing, like as you can see, maybe perhaps Mom Grace Marquez was speaking about that. And as you can see, this but what we're saying is to begin to discover their ability to become resilient, and when they begin to find who they are, their identity. I am the three things. I am a child of God. I'm special. And then we said that they also have people around them. They can they're surrounded with some significant people they can thank God for. And also third, they begin to have this I can, no, some competence, some ability that they can do. And then we also went through what we call the young adults, no, and I've been working with them for about 25 years or 26 years now. And these young people, they have a lot of confusions and questions in life. So we said that from the questionings they have to go through some the journeys, no, their history, to find the values and learnings that they've been through, the ups and downs, no, and lessons of life, values they can define themselves. And third, that they go through the swing of the pendulum of some shaking of their values in life, no, and sometimes they are challenged to find what is really more important, no, because so many sometimes addictions and challenges happen. And fourth one is something on this we call anchor. They need to have some anchor, especially when they suffer. No, what do they do when they suffer? And like almost like purified. What is what kind of loving they are meant to do? And of course, lastly, they try to find real companions and true investments or true values that will build their life. So something like that, companionship, something on nourishment, something that will nourish their life. And of course, lastly, we said that uh, we also asked Mom Anita something on what happens if some people go through some sexual abuse, no, and how do they recover? What helps them? No, I think I don't know if she mentioned something on empathy, a lot of empathy to really assist them in accompanying them, especially in embracing the shame, the guilt, all this turmoil that they go through especially when there is an abuse of